Is it on? It's not? Only for broadcast. Gotcha. Okay, just edit all that out. Good afternoon or evening. Thank you for letting me come. Um, when you get to go on a cool trip like I got to go on, um, you want to share. You're just like you just want to tell people. And some people are just like, "Oh, I'm glad you're home safe," and then that's kind of all they say to you. And then, or oh, you can show me a couple pictures, but you're letting me have what 3 hours tonight, I think. So I appreciate that. So let's see. All right, so yeah, they look like little puppy dogs. So this was the last day. Okay, so first of all, this is our group with so the bookends on either side are the pastor and the pastor's wife, and uh, and we're in the middle. So there were 6 of us that went, and so we're called Partner 135. There's lots of different people to plug in to different spots. What we try to do is we have medical missions, so we always take a certified nurse with us, and then we have eyeglass clinic, so we have an actual eye doctor, and then they train people like me to do the flippers. Which one's better, one or two? You know, I think we can all handle this. And so, and then if with the tough ones, I just send the tough ones over to him. And then, and then the third station was always evangelism. So it was always the gospel presented. We usually used a evangicube. If anybody familiar with an evangicube? Great, great visual. It's like you'll see it in a couple pictures in a minute. But it just you can fold it different ways, and the visual keeps everybody interested and keeps everybody focused on what you're talking about. So, so one of the reasons that we do the clinic the way we do it is we were in Nairobi, Kenya. Um, we also were in some of the towns that were, close by, but mostly in that Nairobi area. We worked. We did a pastors conference the first 2 days. So 500 pastors from all around Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, all different places came to this conference and got glasses. Some could not read very easily, and that would be kind of important for a pastor to be able to read. And so they all got glasses, and so we enjoyed that. And then from then on, we worked in slums and prisons, and so and all of it was very enjoyable. Some of it sounds a little scary. If you're there, I promise you wouldn't have been scared at all. It was just enjoyable the whole time. The hardest thing about going there is the 15-hour plane ride, and then the layover, and then the 5-hour plane. So that's the worst part. Once you get there, it's great. All right, so this is one of the prisons that we were at. Uh, so we call our group Partner 135 because it's based on Philippians 1, 3 through 5, which talks about partnering with the local church. And so that's what we do. We partner with the local church. And so we had probably about 20 different people helping us from that church. So I don't speak Swahili. I don't know if any of y'all speak Swahili. You don't have to because they translate for us. And so they did everything. And they speak English very well. So the ones that were translating for us, so it's really easy to communicate with them. These are all part of the group. Well, you're going to see some prisoners with smiles on their face in a minute. Yeah. Okay, so this is another prison that we were at. We went to 2 ladies' prisons and 5 men's prisons. One of them was a maximum security. They told us after we left that there was some Al-Shabaab terrorists there and some murderers there and stuff, and we didn't know who was who. We just treated everybody with respect, and we had no problem at all. Okay, so there's those flippers. So there's me, and so this is what I did most of the time. One or two. Which one? One or two. You know, and then you either go up or you go down in the prescription, and then you try to focus in on it. So in everything that they're reading, we try to have scripture in front of everybody as much as possible. So that's John 3 that they're reading. So and as soon as they could read it, then we knew they could see well. Okay, so there's the Evangel Cube. Piece in a minute, I think. So this is one of the prisons. You can see the prisoners right there. Now, I taught high school for 25 years, and so I'm used to like half of them kind of going, you know, and then they wonder why they didn't understand the lesson. But I promise you, these prisoners, even on the second row, they were like scooting their chair over so they could see better. So I mean, they were very into it. So when your group was praying for open hearts, these were open hearts. And so, and our interpreter, um, she she was pretty bold. She was tougher than me. She'd say, okay, who made who prayed that prayer for the first time? And then, you know, there'd be like 3 people in each group or something like that, sometimes 1, sometimes 5. But every time we presented the gospel, somebody got saved in groups of 10. And so, I mean, I've never experienced that before. So it was wonderful to be a part of. And so she would ask, okay, so you didn't raise your hand, you know, and she would call them out. And then she would say, okay, now who was already a Christian? Then, you know, about 5 of them would raise their hand. And then there would still be like 2 left, and she's still like, okay. Tell me your story. And so it was quite, I was like trying to get her to calm down a little bit. So like a few of them were Muslims, and a few of them hadn't decided yet. And that's the one she really went after. What do you mean you haven't decided yet? Don't you know what the consequences are? And, you know, she just go on. But anyway, the people that we were with were very, um, they are evangelistic. I mean, they really want these people. So this church has been working in these prisons, since 2008. And so they told us that back then there was all kinds of murders going on inside the prison. It was chaos. It was crazy. And I promise you, when I went there, it felt like peace to me. They said they have Bible studies every day that they can go to. They have a service once a week, just like normal church on Sunday. And they also have seminary classes available to them. And so a lot of them were telling us about the stuff, about their classes and stuff. And so we were able to say the ones that got saved, we were able to say, you can plug in, and we took their name and gave it to the different people, and each prison has their own chaplain that would follow up with them. And it's like, some of this I wanted to bring back to the States. Is the next one? Oh, there it is. Okay. This precious little girl could only see about 3 foot in front of her. Everything past 3 feet was fuzzy. And so we found her an adult pair of glasses, but got it to work. And she was so happy to be able to see, because she could see way over far outside on the hills and stuff. She was describing everything to us. And so when stuff like that happens, that just makes the whole trip. All right. So this one group, they got up and they wanted to hug me. And so I was like, all right, let's do this. If something happens, I go to heaven. That's the way I look at it. That's right. So we hugged, did handshakes and all kinds of stuff. You can see them happy smiles right there, and they're just saying thank you for coming, thank you for bringing us stuff. We really appreciate you. These are the most polite prisoners I've ever. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting this. Okay, so this is we were talking to one lady that had some questions later. She kind of stayed after one of the groups and asked us a bunch of questions, and so we were clarifying some things. Yes, he's great. Um, okay, so you can see the Evangicube over there. Okay, so there's 6 different screens that you can fold the cube in different ways, and they always had something to look at, and so it just walks you through the gospel presentation. Okay, so here we are praying at the end. I always made sure that I told them that these are not magic words. If you repeat this, that does not mean you go to heaven. God knows our hearts. God knows our thoughts. God knows whether we're serious or not, whether we're ready, whether we're sorry for our sins. And they were all like, and I tried to be very clear that sin is sin. Doesn't matter if you lied or you stole something or you murdered someone. It doesn't matter. Sin is sin. We're all equal before God without Jesus. So, all right. So this is the medicine clinic. That's Tanya that came with us. Okay. So one of the things that we did when we left is that we trained this young man. So, so we're familiar with the word donkey. Well, his name is Bonky with a B. Bonky. And I kept wanting to call him Dr. Bonky. And he just said, just Bonky. He was a lot of fun. He's very smart. He caught on very quick. And so when we left at the end, we left the rest of our glasses. We had about 1,100 glasses left. We took 3,500 glasses with us, gave away 2,400 pairs, and left the 1,100 with them to continue the ministry. So we trained him and another young lady to train for that. So yes. So if you donate to a box that says Lions Club on it, that's where we get our glasses. So they come. All we have to do is pay shipping. They organize them and they put them in bags and stuff. And then we have I'm not sure exactly, but they figure out exactly what the prescription is. They write it on the bag for each one, and so they're all different frames. Some of them are kind of new. Some of them have been around for a long time, and you never know which one of the frames that they're going to want. Sometimes they're like, I want a big frame, and they get some glasses like this, and some of them are like, oh, I just want a really skinny frame. I'm like, okay, so we had all kinds, and so it's just sweet people praying. I love that when you can go to the other side of the world and you automatically have a kinship with Christians. I mean, we have the same Father. So we have that automatic closeness. There we go. All right, this is Hugh. Hugh has been on mission trips for over 20 years. Um, Now, some of you in this group might be saying, I could never go on a mission trip. This man is 77 years old. His wife is 77 years old. The doctor that went with us is 76 years old. And then I'm 54. And then we had a 51-year-old and a 32-year-old. And so that was our 6. So God uses people in their 70s. 80s too. I don't want to limit my parents or anything. So this is our youngest one, and so he usually was at the gospel presentation station, doing about 10 at a time, sometimes smaller groups. So he's in seminary right now, and he this was his first mission trip, first time out of the United States, so he loved it. All right, okay, so these are sisters, and so they were so cute. I just want to take their picture. So someone else actually took the picture, which was nice, and you know, you can just tell when they can see better because that yeah, big old smile on their face. You know, it didn't matter how old they were, if they were young or 70, 80 years old, they still just, man, they just lighten up and blesses your heart. That's a good question. So what we did was we went into, this is the second slum we went to. We were there for 2 days. We were under a portable tent that they just put up for us. Yeah, it was a really big, nice tent, metal structure and everything. And they had an evangelism service at night there. And so we were there 2 days. We were in another slum for 2 days, and then we were in jails in the pastors' conference the rest of the time. All right. So, whoa. Let me go back. There we go. Okay, stay on that one. All right. So the optional part of the trip was you could stay on another day and a half and go on a safari. Well, this is called the Masai Mara, and it was what Lion King was made after. The movie Lion King was after this general idea. We didn't see Pride Rock or anything like that, but we did see a lot of the animals and stuff. And so it's very spread out, and it's just north of the Serengeti. And so the animals migrate from the Serengeti up to the Masai Mara and then back down. And so they said if we had come back 2 months later, it would have been covered. It would be just solid black on the hills from the wildebeest coming up. Right. All right. It's a leopard that went right up under our car and kept walking. There's no glass on the windows. We're in that truck and it's wide open. That cat would have had no trouble coming in. And then we were asking the guide, you know, how many people have died on this trip before? And he's like, none. And I've been doing this for 11 years. So he saw these. He's been seeing these cats grow up, and so he knows them really well. He knows their patterns. He knows what he can do and what he can't do. So here's two cheetahs. Now the two cheetahs, he was telling a story. He was basically watching different things, and he's like, okay, these two cheetahs are fixing to cut off that leopard because they were all heading toward a kill that was farther away, and they were all smelling and trying to figure out where it was. So there's some giraffes, and they were eating. Yeah, so there was about 5 giraffes there. This is one of the better pictures. Okay, the our guide said that some of the trips they're lucky to see one cat the whole time. We saw about 30 lions, two cheetahs, um, and a leopard. So he said you should feel blessed because he said the rain brings them out, and it had just rained really hard, and so there's the king of the jungle. Okay, so this is a wild park. Okay, the mama lions are coming back, and the baby lions are all going to see their mom. So the moms have been the mom the moms have been having lunch, and they were bringing milk back for the babies. And so the babies would greet them, rub all over them and stuff, just like our house cats do. And then mom would lay down, and they would nurse. It was a beautiful thing. All of these different jeeps and stuff work together, and they're like, "Hey, we got lions over here," and they would say, "Oh, I just saw the leopard," and they would, everybody would share information. So, because otherwise, you could miss everything. 'Cause this place is huge. So there's no fences, there's no anything. It's just they don't feed them, they don't supplement them, they don't move them, they don't tag them, they don't do anything. They just let nature take place. And so, and they just observe. Last one. Go back to the one before. Oh, okay. Well, let me go to that very last one then. Let's see. Oh, we're going back up to the elephant. So this was one of my favorite videos. I had to trim it down to be able to email it. So he wouldn't quite fit in my suitcase. So this baby elephant was 1 week old. Still had part of its umbilical cord attached. Can you get the video to play? There he is. Yeah, so there was four. They were all females. So I think it was definitely worth the day and a half extra to stay. See all that. So I say thank you for praying. 140 people gave their life to Christ. That's all goes to God. 2,400 glasses, I already mentioned, went out. Gave a lot of medicine. We weren't allowed to administer medicine in the prisons, but we were able to donate medicines because they had gone without medicine for quite a while. And so, but otherwise, they're treated pretty well at the prison, besides the medicine part. No, or if they did, I couldn't remember. But I remember the baby because that one gets your attention. But there was a fourth one that was in this picture and it was zoomed in. Oh, is that what it is behind the other one? Behind the mom? Okay, so the food, most people, that's one of the biggest concerns is people are like, what do we do for the food? Like, is it queasy? No, it's not bad at all. Um, there was some of the starches that I didn't care for. Like they had something that was basically cornstarch that was one of their staples like rice. But most of the time they had rice. The rice was very well cooked, and then it was like a almost like a soup, like a thick soup. And basically, we were served the same meal practically every time. So I don't know if it's the official meal of Kenya or it's the easiest thing, or it's the easiest thing to feed a group, or I don't know. But I mean, there was vegetables and there was meat. Now the meat is a little different than ours because they just they just chop it up, and if there's bones or cartilage in it, well, eat around it. So and they and they do overcook the meat, and they do that on purpose because they don't want anybody to get sick. And so if you go to Africa, take a toothpick or something like that because it will help you out quite a bit. That was one thing I forgot. And I wanted to, will somebody open their Bibles and look at Acts 2, 42 through 47. Acts 2, 42 through 47. Now, this is our charter verse for my church in Fort Worth. 42 through 47. Would anybody be willing to? So I got to experience that. I got to experience, like, you never know what you're going to run into when you get overseas, whether you're going to be able to buy that thing. Plus, even we didn't really have much access to stores. We were taken to a place and dropped, and they said, "Don't wander off." They just said, just stay close, or if you don't stay close, take some of us with you, just in case. So, so we did, and so we didn't have much access to stores, and so when we got there, wh- who would expect Kenya to be 55 degrees? Well, one day it was. It was 55 degrees, and it was chilly. So one of the older gentlemen needed a coat, and so the young guy gave him his coat. And then I needed some medicine. Some other people needed some sleep medicine. I brought sleep medicine. Some other people needed, trying to think, someone else needed a blanket for their hotel room. Someone else needed this. Someone else needed that. We just all shared everything. And so we shared everything, and we told people about the gospel every day, and God added to the number every single day. And it was beautiful. I want everyone to experience that. So please, I know a lot of people are like, wow, you went on a mission trip. You're crazy. But it's fun. I love it. It's so much fun. I want everybody to go. I want everybody to go on a trip like this. Um, you just plug in. They just take you. They said, okay, they say, tell us your talents, you know, and if you don't have any, we'll develop some, and God gave us all talents, right? Spiritual gifts. And so there's always something for you to do. And so it's easy for everybody to plug in. And so we had two first timers on the trip. I was a second timer, and because I went to Uganda last fall. And I want to tell you one of those stories real quick. Um, God works in mysterious ways. Um, I could see we were up on a hill, and I could see pretty far at one of our things when we were doing Uganda, because we did small villages in Uganda. So we were always around beautiful surroundings, green, lush um, farmland. They do lots of farming. They do it by hand. Bless their hearts. And I could see this beautiful, like, mountain type stone structure off in the way on the far distance. And I was like, can we go home that way? Just want to, like, see it, touch it, take a picture, something. And they're like, we can't do it today, but we'll be closer tomorrow. They're trying to pacify me. And then so the next day I'm like, hey, we're closer. Look at the thing. We'll be a little bit later getting home. And so when we got there, everybody was glad we got there, because it was a very pretty place. We went up, we walked all over the stones and stuff, and we looked around, and it was just beautiful. And so we were in this little bitty village. And so some people are like, I don't want to get out of the van. I'm too tired. I just want to stay in the van. So they stayed in the van. Well, people came out from the village, and they were wondering why all these white people are in their village, because we're not normal. We stick out. We even had some kids. Kids would come up to us, and they would touch our hand, and they would like rub. They're trying to get the powder off. Like, where's the black skin? And so I just rubbed their hand, smile. And so while I was up climbing and stuff, and several of us, the people back at the van, where they were starting to get a group there. The whole group was asking them questions like, who are you? Why are you here? And they're telling about what we were doing and stuff. And so there was about 30, 40 people at the van. So when we came back down, someone's like, share the gospel, with our evangelist. And so he shared the gospel with them. Like 10 people got saved right there. It was just a total impromptu thing. And they were so excited that they said, can you come back? We will bring our neighbors. And we only had one night off. We were going to have Sunday night off to recuperate, but they keep us busy. They do keep us hopping. And so we went there on the Sunday night, and the people there, they did bring their friends. There was about 200 people there. And we had a sound system that got set up and everything. And then I don't remember how many people got saved, but it was a lot. It was like 50 more people got saved. And then someone came forward and said, we want to start a church here. And then a woman came up forward and said, I own land right over there, and I would like to donate it to this new church. And then someone else from the crowd said, I have a bunch of bricks. I would like to donate them to the new church. And then someone else came up and said, I have been praying for 5 years for a new church to be built so we would finally have a church in our village, and we wouldn't have to walk miles and miles away. And all of this happened because of God. And I'm glad he works through my selfish desire to see the mountain. But he does. He works through those things. He takes our quirks and our desires and things like that, and he uses them for his glory. And so thank you again for praying. And please come with me. Mm-hmm. Next one's in June, but I'm not going. My brother-in-law is going to go on a mission to Alaska, and I'm covering Nell, my mother-in-law. So we're watching. So I taught high school math for 25 years. Well, yeah, I taught all of the high school math, everything from algebra 1 to calculus 2. And it's just, so I always had a bunch of people that would say, wow, you're like one of the best math teachers I've ever had. But I wanted to be one of the best teachers of God's word. And so that's what I always desired to do. And finally I got an opportunity to do this. I got to retire last May. And so I finally got to do my dream of going to Africa. And so there's supposed to be some trips planned for Peru and India, and then back to Uganda and Kenya and some other places. So we're excited about. Come talk to me. Use me as the contact. I'll be glad to. Okay, that's a good question. I'm not really out of money. It cost $3,800. It was $3,800 for Uganda and $4,000 for Kenya. But that included 400 of that was the safari. Hmm. Yes, it's called Partner 135, and you can just Google Partner 135 or 135 is the way it would be looked, and then you can just donate money, or you can donate people money in someone's name. You can just donate it to the general fund or toward this next trip for whoever and stuff like that. And so it's a great organization. We have worked. I think y'all are familiar with the International Mission Board. So we've worked hand in hand with the International Mission Board several times. Um, like one time, the International Mission Board could not keep a seminary going in Uganda, and Partner 135 took it over and kept it going and helped it to grow even. So, and I got to see that in the fall. So, so that's a neat thing. Any other questions? Okay. Yeah. Oh, I think I've heard about that group. Yes, yes, yes. And these are very warm, friendly people. They love to hug. They love to smile. They love to give nice, big handshakes. And and you feel kinship immediately with them. Um, and yeah, we help support, or we help support a couple kids in a Uganda thing like that too, but it's separate. So there's actually an kind of an orphanage type school thing that's with through Partner 135 also. Any other questions? Yes. Uh, I would. That's a good question. I saw there were the ones I saw several elderly people, and they treated them with, I mean, that could barely walk and different things like that. But I don't know. They did bring some people that were legally blind to our eye clinic, and every once in a while we had a prescription that was high enough that could help them, but not. I mean, their eyes were full of cataracts, and so we couldn't do any kind of surgery or anything. But I would, from the ones I saw, it was very respectful. Any other questions? He grew up a preacher, but I'm proud to say that many things led to different groups. God is good.